Okay friends, we're going to start working on rodeo artwork. Now, I have not drawn this drawing very many times, so I'm going to start with a really light sketch, progressively get darker, and then I'm going to show you a few different ways that you can kind of finish this off. But start with a pencil and make sure that you are drawing lightly because we're going to have to erase some things. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to map my composition out. And you know that what that means is that we're going to draw super lightly with our pencil, just the very basic shapes. So what I'm drawing is a boot, a cowboy boot that's going to kind of take up the bottom half of the page. And then the top part, there's going to be a bouquet of sunflowers in the top of the boot. So there's going to be 3 large sunflowers. I can kind of fill in all the other stuff later, but for right now, I'm just really lightly going to draw an oval, kind of a circle, and another circle. That's kind of where my flowers are going to be. And then I'm going to draw the basic shape of the boot, okay? So my boot kind of goes in. Then right here, it goes out, curve, and then it has the bottom part. Okay, that is kind of the basic shape of the drawing. Now, we're going to go ahead and work on getting the drawing more detailed and adding all of our dimensional elements into it. So first we're going to work on the cowboy boot. Okay, so we've got the back of the boot. Let's see here. The heel right here is going to kind of curve and make more of a, there we go. We're going to kind of define that heel a little bit. Now the back of it for the heel curves like that. Then it goes up a little bit. And then we're going to curve back into the boot. Okay. And I'm going to kind of erase that. It's almost like an S shape and then down. Okay, now this front part from right here, that little part of the heel, it's just a big smiley face line. You can probably see as I'm getting a little darker. Then we're going to round the toe. And then this is another real light smiley face line. So we kind of go over a little bit and then curve up. Let's got our boot about the right shape. But you see, I'm going lightly so that I can erase those lines that I don't need. So we've got it looking a lot like a boot. So right here at the heel, we're going to curve. We're going to do a curve that kind of matches this one. So, and this is kind of the detail on the boot. So it kind of curves up. Kind of does like that. Okay. Okay, now this part. I've got this part down to about right there. But I want to curve it in. Just a little bit, curve it in like that. Then I'm going to make a U shape towards the toe. So I'm going to do like this, small U shape towards the toe. And then I'm going to do a frowny face curve. But whenever you're darkening this up, you see, I've darkened the lines up, but I'm still not digging into the paper. That's kind of the big difference, because all these dark lines, I can still erase them with really not a whole lot of problems. Okay, so now I know that I have 3 flowers. And then, let's see here. Let's go ahead and add the petals to the flowers. So the petals are kind of like this. It's kind of an S shape on both sides. And you're going to go all the way around with that. Now, this is an organic shape. Every petal is not going to be exactly the same. So make sure that whenever you're doing, drawing your petals, make some of them a little bit bigger, slightly smaller. It'll make it look more realistic if you do that. Okay, now I'm going to do this one as well. I'm going to fast forward while I'm doing it. If you need to, pause the video, fix your work how you want it to look. Okay. Okay, so these two you see are looking straight at us. This one is going to kind of be pointed up. So what we want to do, these petals on the back side is going to be just like this, okay? So we're going to go ahead and do the petals on the back side. On this side, though, they're going to kind of, some of them are going to kind of fold in. You see how I did that? They don't all have to fold in. Some of them could be kind of down. Okay, now we've got to add the rest of the bouquet. Now, if you've ever gotten a flower bouquet, you know there are flowers, big flowers, little flowers. There are usually some kind of green leaves that kind of hang down. So, and there's a lot of different textures and different shapes. So first off, I'm going to add a few leaves, like big leaves that would be on the sunflowers, okay? So I'm thinking that I'm going to add one down here, maybe another. Now, keep in mind, yours does not have to be exactly like mine. It can, if you want it to be. You can follow along and do it just like mine. Or you can kind of look up on online sunflowers. And you can always do some sunflowers based on the pictures you find. So I'm going to do that. And you see I'm having to erase a little bit because I'm going over the boot. Maybe I'll do a little one kind of peeking out behind there. There's going to be one kind of up here. Okay. And then maybe even one over here. You see I'm doing very rough sketches of this. Very rough. When I come back in color, I'll kind of firm that up. Okay. You know, when I step back and look at this composition, I really don't like that leaf. It kind of looks very awkward. So you know what? I'm just going to erase the whole thing. Okay. Okay, so I'm liking this. I need to have my horizon line, which is going to be about right here. And then I need to add a few more things to my bouquet. So I'm gonna add kind of little sticks with berries on them because I think that'll add a little bit of texture that we need. So right here, I'm just gonna kind of go out, make a circle in the end for a berry. Then I'm gonna do one right here, and then maybe have one sticking out that way. I'm gonna add maybe small one of those over here and one right there. Typically when you're designing a floral arrangement, you want to work in threes. So like you had 3 of these, you might want to have 3 of those. It just kind of makes the composition work well. Okay. Okay, so the last thing I'm gonna add some long shoots of green leaves. But they're gonna be long, skinny, okay? I'm gonna do some kind of overlapping because I think it would make the composition interesting. And really, it's just a long line and then you come right back up, okay? I'm gonna add some of those over here too. Maybe a few over here. This is all up to you. When you step back and look at your drawings, see what it needs. You may like it where it doesn't have as much. But make sure whatever you draw, picture it coming back up into the boot or sticking down into the boot. That will help you kind of figure out where these things need to go. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe one of these maybe has fallen out and it's kind of laying down here. So I'm going to do that little stick with a berry, maybe a leaf, and that'll be kind of under the boot. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Okay, so the sunflowers, I'm going to make them kind of stylized, I would say. I'm going to do a big oval in the middle, and then I'm just going to do a checkered pattern.
I like that. Once again, it's totally up to you how you do it. Okay, I'm kind of liking this.
Okay, so I think now I'm going to, I think I'm going to Sharpie this. I think that's how I'm going to do it. I do want to show you one thing. I'm going to Sharpie this and do it with markers. I want to show you these amazing markers that I got. They're alcohol markers. I will put a link in your lesson. I know a lot of my students, after seeing this, they ask for them for Christmas or birthdays. These markers are so amazing. They have a chisel tip, so you can draw really big, and then they have a point, which is really awesome too. So this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to use the black instead of a Sharpie because I don't think I have a Sharpie right now. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward me doing this, and then I'll come back when I have everything Sharpied. Go back and erase all your pencil lines if you're using a Sharpie. There's other ways you can do this too. You can totally just do it in pencil and then do all your shading with colored pencil. You could do it with crayon if you have crayon. I'm gonna use the markers I showed you. I think I may use oil pastels, and I even may use some watercolor paints, maybe for the background. I don't know yet. But I do know that I am erasing all these lines that I didn't use, that I didn't go over. And you can see, even though I drew them pretty dark, they're erasing just fine because I didn't dig into the paper. Now, if you have a big pink eraser, take your hand like this, put it on the paper, and you're always going to erase in between those two fingers, okay? That will keep you from ripping your paper, and it will keep you from bending it. Sometimes that happens when we're trying to erase. Okay, I'm gonna go find a pink eraser for myself, and I will be back to color this in.